Hey up everyone, so I'm going to be doing some wiring repair today. The wiring harness had a few defects in it due to somebody chopping out the alarm by the looks of it and bodging the wiring, so we're going to be doing that, addressing some of these connectors that have corroded. You may have this on your bike, probably not the alarm one, but some corroded connectors, sorry, try and say that fast, corroded connectors. So we're going to be repairing that and we'll crack on with the more mechanical work after this, so stay tuned, let's have a look. Right, so please excuse me because my camera's mounted quite nervously on a stool, on a tripod, and it looks like it's going to fall over if I touch it, so I might have to dash off and grab it. What we're going to be doing then is removing these pins, or this pin out of here which has got corrosion, and cleaning that up. I'll show you how to get that out. I can find my... So I'll try and get a link in the title description of this video so you can get some of these yourselves. But it's basically electrical connector key pin removal tools, something like that. On eBay you'll find these different ones. They're good for removing pins out of any connector whatsoever, so you can replace them. So all you do is, so you can see there, every time you come to a connector it will have a little recess in it. That is a key point, alright, to remove these pins out of. So all you do, they may be stubborn, they may not come out at all. All I'm going to do is, if they've been in for some time, they might need a little bit of persuasion. They might not come out at all. If they don't come out at all, then don't try and force them too much, but there we go, lovely. I'm pushing inwards, sorry, so I'm pushing down on the key. That's come out, that's lovely, they're all coming out perfect then. That one's very stiff. You would be, wouldn't you? I'm trying to record. Okay. So I've got a bit of a stiff one, pardon the pun, a pin that is. I'm not going to try and force these out, to be honest with you. It looks like this is the only one that's dirty. So that's out anyway, that's how I do it. I'm going to clean this up with some Harpic, get all that corrosion off, and then give them a good old grease and put them back in. What I'm checking for as well is to make sure that's not too floppy in here, so you know it hasn't broken inside that insulation. It just looks like it's stretched a little bit to me, does that? All this here. Make sure that's got a good connection in it. You can, if you want, to put a multimeter on there and chase it back to the master fuse and make sure it's got a connection in there. Right, so that's out. Just for shits and giggles, we'll check that out. Like I said to the master there. Oh, killer, that's not good. Maybe because it's dirty. Not doing very well at all in this. Yeah, so just going to jiggle that around. It's pretty hard when I've got the camera there. So I'm going to keep these two probes tight in the position, and I'm just going to move that around a little. Bend it, make sure that doesn't change. It is changing. I think, to be honest with you, that reading there is changing because this probe's moving around inside. That looks okay to me, does that? I just thought there was a little bit of a break here or something, but it seems fine. Okay, right, can we all see this? Okay, so the main fuse box. If you have any of these wires that have corroded and they're broken off, something like that, you want to replace a connector in here, you can replace the connectors. This does strip apart, so if you take note of this here, there's two yellow plastic keys which run right through that fuse housing. What that basically does, it stops these from popping out. You can leave your fuse in there for now. What we're going to need is a set of pliers, so what I want to do is just get one of these little pry pins and push them both up. They'll lock into position. They should have it pushed down here, and a little plastic cap on them to no, they don't. Okay, see if it will come out. Excuse me, there, that's one. You'll have to get the other one past the rivet as well. Right, they actually should have on here a pointer. So they should have a little bit of plastic on the end there, locking tab. So what you have to do is you have to push that down and pull it out to get them out, but we don't have that. So after that, you've removed your plastic keys, and what you want to do, make sure if you're going to remove all of these, take a photograph of the fuse board as well, because you might forget where they go. All I'm going to do then is pull it out. There we go. Right. So that's the connector. Let me zoom in. Here we go. Sorry. Right. So when you do pull these out, there's another little tab, little locking tab thing in there. Can you see it just above my nail? That little notch thing is sticking up there. You'll have to push that to one side just to release it. If you look down, you can see that little tabs locking them all in there. So pull those towards you, and that will release the pin. And you got your pin out. So you can actually buy these male, I think the male or female fuse connectors. You can buy them. You can replace that if it does break off, or replace the whole wiring. So that's how you get those out. And obviously to put it back in there, it's just the same thing in reverse. I'm not going to pull all these out. I don't need to do the look in good shape, to be honest. I can put some grease down here and put some harpic down there and clean it all up. So, well, I do apologise. I had no idea I wasn't recording then. So what I've done, I've cut this wire, just stripped it, put it together, got some heat shrink on there. Now I'm going to solder it together. It's a thick wire, I've got a thin soldering iron, so it might put up a little bit of a fight, this one. I want to make sure that none of that copper wire is sticking out sharp, because when I put the heat shrink on, it'll cut straight through it. Notice my heat shrink has shrunk down there, so what I'm going to have to do is retrieve as much as I can. I'll shrink that down. I've got a heat gun, by the way, but I can shrink it down with the soldering iron. Right, so that's that repaired. It's heat shrinks on there. There's no wire sticking out of it. I don't need to tape it up because the heat shrink's doing its job. What I'm going to do is post him back in there. Yeah, looks a lot neater. Right, so I'm going to wrap this up and then do a bit of cleaning. Really, so next job is to clean this up with some Harpic Power Plus. Good for many things, that, not just cleaning the crap off your bog. I'm going to dip that connector in there. Anything that looks corroded is going to go in there. I'm going to use this paintbrush to brush from this Harpic on, clean up all these connections. So if you're familiar with my videos, you'll see me use this many times. So all that rust on there, I could wire brush it off, to be honest with you, but I'm just going to demonstrate to you how effective this stuff is at cleaning up your copper, saves you doing lots of hard work. Alright, we'll get that in there as well, and I think it's just that one what's cleaning, and we'll do the, I'm not going to bother doing the regulator because that's going to have a new connector on it. I've replaced that. Right, okay, so I'm more than happy with that. What I'm going to do, they're all lovely and clean, look now. I'm going to get this harness put to one side because that's completely finished. What I will be doing before I assemble, I'll put some electrical grease, silicone grease around these connectors, so keep them nice and lubed. Then what I'm going to do is give this a little bit of treatment as well, make sure the solenoid is working correctly. We'll test that out and get that oiled up as well. Right, okay, I hope I've got a really good view for you here. I'm just trying to position the camera so we can all see. Solenoid, right, so what we're going to do with the solenoid, first of all, is test it. Now we're going to test it. I'm going to use a battery. All I'm going to do is touch these two pins inside there, which the trigger wire hits it. It doesn't really matter which one goes where. All it does is create a circuit. So touch one of these wires to one pin, the other, and listen for the click. There we go. So that's clicking lovely. Of course, if that was sticking and it wasn't hesitating, basically, that's when you know your solenoid is getting corroded inside, it's getting stuck. So the other thing is as well, the solenoid can still click, but the plunger might go up at an angle like that. It's not going up level and touching both of these probes, so that's another problem where people can get confused if these go faulty. So what we're going to do is get these, remove the nuts. 10mm spanner if you got these are tight. Push these down a little bit so you can get there's a rubber seal in there, an O-ring, which you have to make sure this little rubber O-ring is in good shape as well, because if that's knackered, this little rubber O-ring, then it's going to allow water in there, which will eventually start the corrosion process. So I want to make sure that that's in good shape. You wouldn't think these actually get serviced, would you? So now these two probes, we're not going to split this open, because if you split it open it's done for. All I'm going to do is I'm going to push that down. If I can just see here, let me try and focus on this. It's just see around the rim here. There looks like some corrosion has started to set in. Camera focus. You can just see around there where it looks like that is starting to let go a little bit, or some corrosion start to make its way down there. So all we're going to do basically is fill that with oil very carefully. I'm running out of WD-40. There we go. Just got to keep those pressed so it soaks in. Work it a little bit. where would we be without WD-40, eh? I think WD-40 was designed during World War II, I believe it was. It has all sorts of things you can do with it. I think there's actually a, if you Google uses for WD-40, sorry I'm jumping off the subject, you can actually see all sorts of other things people found it's useful for. Right, so that's all I'm going to do with that. If you've got a faulty solenoid and you want to give it a little bit of a clean out, it's a simple thing, that's all you do, is get some lubricant in there, get it moving, test it out now, see if it's any better, any sharper. There we go, it works. So that concludes the solenoid service. Let's have a quick look at these. Actually they feel rubbery, nice and supple. Feel alright. Don't forget to fit your nuts. Put your nuts on the solenoid. Don't put your nuts on the solenoid and test it, by the way, because it will give you a jolt and you'll probably have a high-pitched voice for the remainder of your days. So when I put, oh, by the way, when I put these back on, I don't want to over tighten it, just want to nip them up enough to just to. I'm not even using a spanner, to be honest. If you over tighten it, you can actually pull these out and damage it, so these shouldn't be tight. Just nip it up. Those are the ones that go on tight to lock your wires down. I'm just going to give it one more test after that to make sure it's good to go. Make sure I'm not broken anything. So yeah, lovely, simple. The ignition was loose as well. I've gone to remove it to clean this up. Remember the other side of it, which was gammy. It was loose. 2 8mm bolts in there, both of them not tight at all, so I'm going to have to check bloody everything on that to make sure things are tight. Nevertheless, we'll clean out with some Harpic, it'll be good as new, and grease it. Okay, all clean, shiny and new, that. Lovely. It was starting to corrode heavily at the back as well, but happy with that. Quick Harpic bath, good as gold. Alright, so the ignition is back on. I'm still waiting for the wiring for the regulator rectifier. I'll do that in a separate video. We'll chop those connectors off and fit new ones. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the clutch out, have a look at these belts. I'm still waiting for my cam alignment tool. I can't find mine. My cam alignment tool is different to the 916 on the 748, and also the 748E model is different, the ST4 heads. So I'm going to have a little jig around in my toolbox if I can find it. It will turn up as soon as the new one arrives, that's usually what happens. But apart from that, thanks for watching. I hope you've learnt something in this video, and I'll see you in a few days hopefully.